Did I hear my name? You guys are on mute now.
In a gas station, I think, yeah.
So we are testing the property we do not own in hopes that maybe we'll purchase it.
Okay. Is any other potential permitting delays that we see, like wetlands or Act 250 amendment or anything like that that you're concerned about?
No, we're going to actually chatted last week and just kind of about timeframes a little bit, but we are starting to have all the pieces for the environmental interest document and being able to submit for things like the wetlands permit. We've reached out. I haven't heard back yet, just to kind of figure out exactly where we are with that application. We submitted, I think it was last week, we submitted some draft plans to V-Trans for their comments on the 1111 permit, and in particular, things like our road crossings. And we're starting some discussions with them. There's at least one spot where we're a little bit concerned that we might not be able to do directional boring under the road because of bedrock. And so we're going to want to have discussions with them about an actual cut in the road, which they generally really don't like. So that's advancing. Time frame wise, we're hoping to kind of pull everything together in September and start submitting things in October.
And the bridge, everything with the bridge design is going okay?
The bridge design's that piece of it's all wrapped up. Actually went out to bid. I think they had our contractor selected.
CCS.
Oh yeah, I heard that. That's good. We've worked with them before. I like working with them.
Peter, what's happening with the crossing over Pond Brook with the pipe?
So that is part of our engineering services agreement.
Wolcott Pond Brook, not this one, not that one, right?
Yeah, in the middle of town.
Pond Brook or Wolcott Pond, yeah.
So we have sort of come to the conclusion that we need a separate carrier bridge to carry that pipe across instead of trying to attach it to the existing bridge, which is not in that great of shape. We have two proposals from two different engineering firms to do that work. I think we know who we want to go with, and we're just kind of hoping to get this engineering services agreement through with Lynette and her team so that we can contract with them
Are we still thinking of a pedestrian walkway there?
I floated that idea, I'll have to check with Alex. He's been coordinating with those bridge engineers and just see.
It's a really big deal, I think.
I think one of our concerns, I remember the conversations we've had around this were about being able to use this funding for that purpose. And the ideas of things like, especially with federal funding, ADA accessible bridge and all that sort of stuff. So I think what we were really going to try to do was at least lay the groundwork that could happen in the future with whatever is in place, if that makes sense.
So the structure, whatever it is solid enough to permit us to.
Well, we haven't gotten to that design place, but yes, that would be the hope that it's.
Okay. Yeah, it'd be nice not to lose track of that or just kind of slip into we didn't.
Yeah. I agree. It's a
I
really.
mean, if there's big problems doing it, obviously.
It's a really good thought to try to incorporate that because
Yeah.
that would be a good addition.
That's gonna be on the downstream side of the bridge.
Yes, yeah.
Thanks.
And the same with this bridge over here, Peter, it's gonna be attached to the bridge and not go underneath the channel for this.
Not attached to the bridge, but a separate carrier bridge next to it. It's the same concept, yeah.
Are we at 90% design?
No, we have provided 60% to Lynette Nashwack. We have a basis to design that I still need to get over to Lynette for 60%, and then we're starting to pull together pieces and especially kind of come up with an outline of the final things for the 90% that we're working towards.
What, do you have a rough idea on 90%?
Like time frame?
Yeah.
Yes. I think we were figuring there is some of the work that we're doing at the school kind of needs to get loaded in. I think we were hoping that all of that sort of comes together at the same time as the 90%, which would be like hopefully late October, into November.
And is that part of that? Are you waiting for like that permissions for? What's it said? Yes, later. That you need to go get additional surveys or?
Not so much. There's probably a little bit we still need to get, but mostly it's getting into things like those carrier bridges will be part of it. Details on electrical and mechanical, more information about what the treatment shed will look like. Probably some fine tuning of where the tanks are, especially now that we know the parking lot went in. Kind of all of that final tweaking and extra details. Working especially to beef up the specification and the front end documents. Once we have more information on things like the carrier bridge and the controls and that, we can revise our opinion of probable cost and
Where that would have to adjust the design. Do you have to do additions?
it's not going to be a huge design change, but yes, that might tweak the cost a little bit.
Do you have to do some more bedrock boring?
No, that's kind of how we know that the directional boring won't work that great is from the probing we did get. It's kind of the way the bedrock angles and the depths we got on two sides. When we talked to a directional borer, they pretty much indicated that it could be very challenging to get across in that particular location.
Any other questions for Peter on design permitting? We'll jump to some school testing next and landowner information specifically for the design and permitting.
So are you still working with the Northern Borders or on the environmental review, or how's that going? Are they helpful or are they?
We haven't really engaged with them very much. We're going to need to soon, but we haven't really gotten to that point where we have something to provide them yet.
I think earlier said that might be a time snafu.
Yeah. We're still trying to pull everything together so that they can do their review in conjunction with Lynette and the Water Investment Division's review.
Would they possibly ask you to get more data in the field? I mean, would they request things that need to get done before the end of the field season? Or could that be done? I don't know what they typically would want.
I don't think so. I mean, I think getting archaeology and the wetlands work done is very important. That was one of the things we were just talking about. I'd like to get the wetlands application in very soon so that if the wetlands biologist feels like they want to have another site visit, then we can do that. I don't feel like the impacts are super significant, so I'm not too concerned about it. And I don't think there's going to be anything that the Northern Borders is going to really have to second guess relative to that. I think it's mostly about making the state folks happy.
Like, for what relates to wetlands, it mostly be kind of on this section down here past the garage.
There's a little bit there.
Buyout area kind of over there.
Exactly. Yeah. And then we going up the trail on the town parcel, a bunch of that is in the wetland buffer. Most of that's in the wetland buffer, actually. But we already walked it with them and got their buy-in that, following the existing swath of disturbance made the most sense.
The school, any updates on the testing up there and the schedules, or are we think we're on for the next school board meeting in September?
I'm guessing at this point it's probably gonna end up being October, because we're still working on getting this approved engineering service agreement so we can get the drill rig out there. We had, I don't know if it'll end up taking this long, but it's a significant, because we're going so deep, it's a significant number of days of drilling out there. Like in the order of 7 to 10 days.
Would that interfere with this school athletics?
We will need to coordinate that, and my guess is we can mostly just work to stay out of their way, but.
The well isn't on the athletic field though, is it?
The well?
Yeah, isn't that where you're drilling?
No, we're essentially trying to get some more data on the subsurface conditions. Specifically, we know we have a pretty good sense of where the bedrock layer is, and we know there's a very deep sand and gravel layer, but what we don't really know is how thick the till layer is, kind of where it's denser.
So you're talking about the field.
Yeah, in the leach. Also characterized between the leach field area and the existing drilled well, and get a little bit more information on that. Perhaps try to identify superficial groundwater and superficial groundwater flow versus versus bedrock, see if we find anything in those layers.
The school starts next week.
The 25th?
So are we, so were we talking about September that this would all happen?
Yeah.
So could we potentially give them a heads up that we need to do more drilling?
Yeah, we're just trying to get the pieces laid to make sure we can be doing this, and then, yes, very soon we'll be giving them.
So what's the holdup with the service agreement?
It's the paperwork behind the scenes is pretty complicated, and it's just challenging to break it out into, it's just challenging to break it out into the various formats. And when we did the preliminary engineering, we were working with Emily, and we kind of, at her request or recommendation, we lumped things, and now we're realizing we actually have to split things out more. So it's kind of a,
Sounds like FEMA.
it's probably very similar to what you're doing with.
But roughly, we're talking about drilling happening in September.
That is our hope.
And
That is
then
our hope.
meetings with the school board in October.
Yeah, okay, exactly.
Any questions for Peter on drilling at the school? Would you mind putting the agenda back up for Alan's benefit? Thank you.
Brenda can share with me.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Share.
Okay, that's back, so I guess, landowner contacts and, I know, so Kurt has called me at home and I sent you guys a message about his, measuring of he had an argument about what Alex was measuring from the distance from his leach field to, the neighbor's wellhead, and he came up with 120 feet and you guys came up with 70 feet. And I know he's sent you some attachments that you couldn't open or something. Peter.
I sent him the
I thought, so we just sent a response. I thought the 70 feet was from his well to his leach field. Alex is the one who's been out there, so he knows a little better, but I thought that's what the 70 feet reference was. What we just sent back, not that long ago, maybe an hour ago, was a picture of the actual well shield for the neighbors that he measured from, and what that actually looks like, which is, so well shields when they're drawn are always 100 feet in all directions. But then generally for a bedrock well, you're going 200 feet in an uphill direction. And it's kind of based on topography. And the idea is, it's kind of our best way at generally estimating groundwater flow and creating a protection area that's, reasonable without doing a lot of, hydrogeologic investigations.
So he probably was measuring just to the well and not considering the wellhead radius.
Correct. So what we just sent back in the latest email, we highlighted the well protection shield for the neighbors across the street, which actually goes quite a bit further up onto his property, and his leach field's like, pretty much more in the middle of it.
That's his
You
name.
might be right, it might be 120 feet, but really it extends 200 feet up, so another 80 feet higher.
And that's the neighbor across the road.
Yes.
You guys know what we're talking about? The
Yep.
little house next to the church, to the west of the church. The Nazarene Church. So I don't know if he's gonna come tonight or not. I did tell him that you were gonna be here.
Okay.
Let's talk to you. And then, was there any follow-up or any thoughts on the Mendez?
Yes.
the church, the house next to the Methodist church.
Alex was able to connect with him and have a good conversation.
Do you know their name?
I thought it was actually,
Mendez?
I-
That's better
That
than.
sounds about
Mendez.
right.
That's closer.
There's some, yeah,
I was trying to find it in my spreadsheets and, I couldn't.
Oh, you had what?
Robert Mendez.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Mendez, okay. Robert Mendez. So I'm sorry.
Anyway, Alex had a good conversation with him. He kind of had to go through the benefits of connecting the system and the complications of not having very much room between his house and the church. He explained that Stone had already been up there and explored his property early on in the project, and that it was going to be challenging for him to get a replacement leach field up there. And after a couple iterations of going around in circles, he pretty much convinced him that he should connect. So that's where it stands now.
So we're back to a yes.
We're back to a yes, although we haven't actually seen any official paperwork saying that he's connected, but that's where we're at. So
So has he been receiving our yes mailings?
yes, he. I asked Alice that, does he have what he needs to send us confirmation that he wants to connect? And he does, but we haven't seen it yet, as far as I know.
I mean, as far as the need for the bank agreement, the easement right of way, he's been getting that.
That's actually a really good question. I don't know that we've circled back with David to make sure he gets a copy of that easement.
If he comes,
Do you know, Linda, if
I
that
don't.
ever made it to him? I don't know.
if he comes tonight,
Find out.
can we print that up for him, just to
No.
hand to him? No.
I don't have access to a printer. I don't have the thing. David does.
Okay,
You can ask David. I mean,
that's fair.
he might have a computer with him that he has.
He's coming at 6.
Yeah, he's gonna come a little bit early.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing that. And I didn't know if we didn't, so that was the carrot. And he went for the carrot. So we didn't have to take out the stick of saying the church might cut you off, cut the leach field off.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was part of the conversation, was how challenging it would be to, like, the church wants to connect and there really isn't much room there to do something different, so hopefully that was part of what convinced him.
We didn't find any agreement where they could have it, written agreement about the shared septic or tank there at all.
There is no agreement, yeah. Guess not surprising.
So in our tally last, our meeting 2 weeks ago, Peter, you said we had 7 no's / opt out. Does that include the Mendez, or is that?
Yes, I think they were the 7th.
So we're down to 6.
Down to 6, and then we still have those 2. Sorry, my computer's waking back up. We have the 2 that were a little bit unknown, the Douglas.
And then we went down there again, and their car's there, they're not answering the door. The way the house is laid out, we heard dogs barking. There was an air conditioning running. Maybe they just didn't hear us. I don't know, but we've tried 3 times. Well, we talked to the son-in-law and daughter, but we've been trying to get Marshall 3 different times. I don't know. Have we heard anything else from any responses or changes?
No changes other than the one next to the church. The other one that Alex brings up is Shannon Hewitt, parentheses Gill at 161 School Street. He's been struggling to find a time to inspect her property. They returned their commitment letter,
As a yes.
as a yes, but, he hasn't been able to sign with them.
The guy was out painting his house yesterday.
Oh, really?
He cleans here. He's our cleaner.
Oh, here? Okay.
Mhm.
Where is this?
Right there, white and blue house.
Right here? Hi, I'm David Polo.
I did.
Hey, David. Hey, David. Thank you for coming to the Zorg check. We'll go around the room in a second. Okay, introduce us. You, vice versa. I just wanted to, so we're on the correspondence. That's the update. And
Yeah.
okay. And I guess regarding Douglas, maybe she'll come tonight. I'm not sure. Martian. Not sure what else to do, but.
Maybe I'll go to Mark, also look for
There you go. Williams, was that? No, okay, I'm looking back at June. So we got Williams and Teal's a no. Was Williams a no?
no, he's a yes.
He's a yes. Okay. I was looking at my June notes, but. See. Any other questions on the landowner contacts for Peter? So I know you weren't here for a couple meetings, but we've been setting up plans to secure easements right away for the wastewater hookup
Yeah,
from the corner of the house to the wastewater system, septic tank, for construction and to maintain and inspect that.
right.
And that's why we have our meeting tonight and we have David here available to talk to the landowners.
Okay.
Maybe on that note, Dave, you want to know who's in the room here? I know you probably know some folks or.
Sure, that's a good idea.
Tori Helvis with the Wolcott Commission.
Nice to meet you, sir. You know the Zorchet?
Bruce Wheeler, resident.
Bradley Horseman, resident.
Jim Ryan, resident.
Alan Carpenter, select board.
Linda Martin.
All right, and then we have Lynette on the line on Zoom.
Okay.
You want to introduce yourself, Dave?
everyone.
You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm David Polo. I'm a lawyer from Morrisville. And you folks asked me to do the legal end of this, and we've been working on the project. So I understand at 6 o'clock, it's an open meeting for people to sign their easement deeds. Just to update where I'm at, that we did send out easement deeds to most people about 3 weeks ago. I've only gotten a few back, had a few phone calls. I actually thought I'd get more responses. And, you know, we can talk about it for folks that haven't responded, how we want to follow up with it. And also dealing with mortgage partial discharges in that issue. And for local banks like the Union Bank, I don't anticipate it'll be an issue. With some out-of-state banks, it could be impossible. It's just how they operate. Sometimes they think Vermont's part of Canada. I mean, I'm not kidding. When you're dealing with out-of-state lenders far away, they don't understand the Vermont market or legal system at all. So I'd be glad to answer any questions, but I didn't think we got all the easement deeds out. If for some reason we missed anybody, they can sign a deed now. I'm not sure if there's a hard and fast deadline for deeds to be signed. At some point, you could establish one, either fish or cut bait by the state, or because the construction's not gonna begin next year, but of course, I don't know anything about funding and deadlines, grants and all that stuff, which,
So if you want, you can have a seat if you want,
okay,
yeah, like, those are really good points, and I think we have some people here in the room, I think that might be able to answer your questions
yeah.
before the 6 o'clock. We have Lynette, on the line, and Peter Stone Environmental, that might be able to answer questions. Do we have a drop deadline for the easement signature? What do we do about those state banks, that
Well,
might be impossible to get, so how do we get around that?
so I think the fact that we've taken a proactive approach, ask people to do it, and then I will follow up. It's a title insurance requirement, and it's a really quirky issue when you think about it. So in a mortgage deed, which are these days like 10, 12 pages long with a lot of legalese that actually doesn't have to be there. I think mortgages start out, when I started practicing law, two pages, then there were 4 pages, and now they're like 12 pages. They don't need to be, but they are. So if you do anything technically that differentiates the quality of the title, or even if you change the nature, most mortgages are just for primary residential property. But on occasion, people rent their properties out, nothing happens. So in this case, I think we will be able to get the partial discharges. I can tell you from Hyde Park's project that they did a few years ago, they didn't get all the partial discharges, and nothing's happened. Technically speaking, it's from the town's perspective, it's hard to believe that a bank would foreclose out the interest of a easement that benefits the bank in the sense that it probably, all things being equal, improves the value of the property. And so I think that if it ever got that far, and I think the risk is really minute, that if the town made a good faith effort to obtain these partial discharges and they don't get them, I don't think anything's likely to happen. So that's all you can do. And I just can tell you from experience, if you've got a legal issue, let's say you need a partial discharge for a 6-foot strip that turns out to be an encroachment because a later survey was done or something like that, it can be really hard to get that from the big banks. The community-based banks and credit unions are far more accommodating. They kind of get it better. So as long as we make an attempt to get it, I don't think it's going to be an issue.
It didn't seem like there were that many though.
And you're right, there weren't very many.
And there were,
Yeah,
and there were only a couple out of state.
right.
When you say not that many, you mean properties that have a mortgage?
Have a mortgage, and there were only a few that were out of state.
Yeah. So there aren't that many anyway.
But you're more.
2 or 3.
Something you're more concerned, you just haven't heard back from a bunch of people.
Well, the mailing, it took a long time for me to get mine. I mean, the church has a loan, so we had to, I mailed that out, but it might not have been until Sunday or Monday that I mailed it, so it's gonna take a little bit.
That's right. And so we'll see, but at the end of the day, I would not exclude somebody because they didn't get a partial discharge. So long as an effort was made to obtain it. And again, the risk for the town is that the bank's going to foreclose out the easement, which would be self-defeating for the bank to do that.
To me, it's more of a question of what the state might require for this. It's a grant funded project. And Peter and Lynette might be able to answer that question. I'm not sure required for the grant.
Thoughts on
I
that?
can try.
Sorry on that.
Relative to the indirect discharge permit, all of the easements related to that permit have to be in hand. since before that permit can be issued in draft and go out for public comment. So that's a controlling factor in some of the villages. In other villages where that's an issue, we've looked at maybe having a second contract for follow-up service connections. But if we're not talking about that many, we might be able to carry them as an add alternate so that they could get added in later after the easements are through and the indirect discharge permit is formally amended to include them.
I think the question though, Lynette, is not, it's not the
Is that
problem
clear?
of getting the easement, it's the problem of getting the release from the bank, and the attorney is advising that it's not a grace, it won't break the deal by not having the,
Right,
is that all right with you, is the
Understood.
question?
I don't know if I can answer that. I can run it by our staff.
Oh, I'm having a hard time with it.
Yeah, I know, I can see.
But that's the question. I mean, if it's grant dependent, then we're gonna have to be really proactive.
She's gonna check.
Okay,
She works for the state. She's overseeing
Yeah.
our permitting, Lynette, and so I do know that we have to have all the she said we have to have all the easements in place before we can file for the discharge.
And indirect discharge. So to answer your question, there will be a hard and fast deadline.
okay.
Later this fall.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this going, so Lynette's going to look into this, I just would hate for this issue to potentially stop this project or exclude some homes when we need that critical mass of hookups for this project to work financially.
But I think depending, I think it could take some effort and occasionally some money. But depending on the necessity, I could pursue it pretty aggressive. As Linda said, there's only a few. So what I'm saying is conjecture anyway. We might be able to get them all. It's just saying what would happen.
So you were talking about the bank release.
Yeah,
but
partial discharge.
So it's partial discharge, but for the landowners that we haven't heard back from where they don't have a mortgage, we just need them to sign
Yeah, oh yeah.
the easement.
That's right.
And hopefully they'll do that.
Yeah.
The ones that don't have it, don't have mortgage.
That's right.
Any other questions for David? And then we have people waiting that will. Yeah, you'll have the spotlight in a few minutes.
Okay.
And just so you know, we're thinking about maybe having a couple of breakout corners in the room. Some people want to talk to Peter about the design. Some may want to just talk to you about the easement and this partial discharge. Some may just have general questions, so we might break through where just people get to where they need to go.
I'd like to check with my status. They got a couple of systems down there that just see where I stand, make sure I submitted the information.
All right, and just a couple of quick items before we start letting free. Linda, anything, any grant funding updates? A couple of blows last month, rejections, but yeah.
We did submit pre-application for CDBG DR grant funding, and we're invited to submit a full application.
Like a pre-application.
The pre-application was accepted, and now the project's invited to submit a full application.
Can you give me that acronym again?
CDBG.
Okay.
Development block grant.
And that's due by the end of the month.
That is September.
Yeah. When's it awarded?
They have a board meeting that will review it in November. So it'd be after Thanksgiving.
And that was million? Okay. What's our chances? Yes on that.
It's application number 77, so.
Is it just one? Are they just awarding one or is it multiple awards?
There's multiple awards, statewide funding pool, but a good portion of it is dedicated to projects in Washington County.
Flood money.
Washington.
Come.
Washington and Lemoyle, you said? Okay. Does any having any support letter from our local representative, would that be helpful? Or should we hit Dan up or
It'd be good to get letters of support. I can follow up with you with some like templates, anything like that would be good.
this is part of the resiliency focus project? Thank you for doing that. Anything else? Any other items? Good time. 5 minutes or so to have leg stretch. It's okay, my watch is set too.
That clock's off.
Yeah.
Keeping the Zoom on.
Yes, I think. So Lynette, you can hang in there for a little bit?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, you can come in. You most of it's complicated.
Yeah. There you go. Next to the town.
Peter, have you met last time? Thanks. Have you
What did you get from me? Yeah.
No, I don't know. I don't exactly.
Excuse me, David and Bruce, can I shift you guys? Bruce, can I shift you guys maybe over here just so we can give Peter a little space there? Or somewhere just to give these guys a little bit more room and sorry, you can continue, Bruce.
No, that's fine. I haven't been in this room for a few years.
No.
My hearing was.
One-on-one factor.
Everyone's all there.
Okay. We did, we were talking about it briefly, but I want Peter to just share what he just shared with a few minutes ago.
What did I get from you? Do you have a record of?
Oh, yeah, but not with me. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, so my question is, I think I'm also.
Maybe you and I and Alan can do general questions.
Well, the first, I don't know where they have the, do you have more than 1 feet? There needs to be an easement deed for.
That's 90.
So if you had like 2 deeds, then you want 2 deeds. If you had the issue
came up.
This is what we. Linda did the shadow rock. So it's possible she or me could have missed it on property. I think at some point, once we have them all, I'm gonna go through the list and say, hey, I'll make sure we got everybody. Which is a possibility. Noting 2 and 3, and I can go back and check. Well, it's on a master list, but why don't you give it to me?
Put it right here in 15. That's gonna be.
So now,
I don't know where that came from.
Here's yeah. But we're over the 104 per year, so we have a few folks to. Okay. Seems like a moving target. Folks come in. Folks, can I get your attention just for a minute? We just finished our regular wastewater meeting and now we open up for folks to come in and have questions. And we have some kind of specialists in the room to help answer your questions. Over here, we have Peter. Peter for a second. Yep. Peter's Lazarchek from Stone Environmental. He's our lead engineer for the wastewater project. If you have any questions regarding the project construction, design, permitting, as it might relate to your property or in general, Peter would be the person to talk to. So we're going to have a little trying to break out into different corners of the room here. And David, the town attorney, here to help with the easement language that folks have been receiving letters. We need residents and businesses to have an easement so we can construct and maintain the wastewater line from the house to the connecting line and the septic tank. And if there's a mortgage, there has to be kind of a partial sign off from a bank for that, just for the essentially a 10-foot wide right away to access the system. So David would be the person to talk to, and he can be your liaison to your bank to get that signature. And but maybe we could we have Linda Martin, that's select board chair here, and Alan also on the select board, also our Wolcott Wastewater Committee, Bruce Wheeler, myself, Jim Ryan, Bradley, from the wastewater committee as well, and Tori from the Memorial Regional Planning Commission. So we have a lot, and Lynette is on Zoom. She's with the state of Vermont, and she's overseeing the project, permitting and grant aspects, and she can answer your answer your questions on Zoom as well. So I'm just trying to direct you to the right corners of the room here. Can I just get a general sense of who folks might be?
Brian and Monica, 74th Hoop Street.
And did you?
Dunbar.
Which question? Which do you have more easement questions or design construction questions or just general questions? So we get you to the right people.
Well, this is the first time we just got the letter, came down, we gotta get it notarized, and I understand about the easement of your property.
Okay.
The deed,
And David can do the notarization.
Sure.
And David can do the notarization too.
So Jim, just so you know, the letter I sent out to everybody for these folks was just, hey, if you want to come down and sign it, tonight you do it. So there may be some folks that don't have any questions, but they just want to sign the easement deed.
And then maybe we can get those folks that just want the notarization in first. And if you just want to do that, and if you wanted to be.
well, I didn't realize that it was like this, because I think we would be curious on how it would work on our property as far as, because we're gonna be building on our property, so.
Okay.
It'd be nice to just to get an idea of, do you replace the septic tank? Do you, what's the plan for that?
Sure. And if you have more general questions, we'll have a group over here with Bradley and Alan and myself and Linda and Tori. We can answer the more general questions, and then you can go to talk to multiple people tonight. We just thought instead of a presentation to the whole group, people want to hear specific questions about their property, but
Yeah, we just want to know what's going on with down there, how it's going to run, how it's going to work.
sure.
I know where the water thing is, but they kind of got buried, but it's good to get out.
If you folks want to come over here, and we'll start you off here, and then we can.
We're doing a circle, you mean?
Sure. And, maybe just grab a chair, and we'll go in this corner over here, and Bradley and Ellen want to come over here, that'd be great. And did you just need to be notarized, or? Okay, so maybe you need to come talk to David over here.
Right now.
And if you have any questions, he can take care of that for you. Okay, so you want to come over and talk to David?
Yeah.
Did you have any, I do have to get it notarized. Okay. Yeah, but I'm gonna assume the tank is still gonna be within our fence line, how does that work? So as far as Peter, probably give a sense. Yeah, but are your expense then? Are your expense then?
Side fence, right?
Maybe with the existing tank, you might have to
I
draw a
believe
little picture
they
of
can
your
consider
house.
29.
229, we're right across. Oh, okay. So we have an existing fence, so we're gonna tear that down and make a bigger fence, so it's have a better place to run. It's not actually. So when are you gonna do that? It's gonna most are probably gonna go in this year, but it does next year. I didn't know how. Construction, everything's gonna happen next, starting in spring, finish by, yes. No, I mean, the waste rock. Yes, yeah. But he can give you an idea where your tank is gonna be. No, I know where the tank is, because we have the lid comes right now. I mean, where the new tank is.
Yeah.
All right. So you probably want to talk to Peter on the tank location. And then, so. You know, it's the same that. Everybody. Basically, from where your pipelines at your house, the right. But it's basically just. Right, it's a 10-inch access for the line. Take care of it, come back, inspection, come back. After first, well. Check it out, especially on that. People that ever happen to the line of tank. Yeah. Maybe you talk to Peter at some point, and then you get the. And then I don't know if you're talking for you.
They're both the same.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks. And, all right, thank you for coming. And.
The interest.
Yeah, so I love these gentlemen.
Yeah, they're nice.
And it's a free actually. Thank you for coming.
I think we're gonna go over there. I'm not sure.
Now, push this one.
You can shoot to see.
Oh, no, I know who you are. I didn't know. Oh, no.
I mean, you're more the engineer, but they probably don't have an idea of what's gonna end up paying for it. It's gonna be the use.
Set it out ball or whatever.
They're gonna allow a new pump in, pump out, they would.
Even though there's no tax, I mean, it didn't require.
So yeah, so annually,
Shut off. And we're. Shut it off.
Let's get to so you don't want
huge span between per back.
We're still fine.
I've never.
Per hour per back. Like $200 per month. I'm just waiting for this. I'm here just.
What do you have for? I apologize for that. I think that's.
And do you have any work to do yourself? So I didn't send a, yeah, this is all the paper. They're supposed to sign.
Do you know whether that's gonna be like?
Just one. The only thing, if your system fails. As far as we're concerned, I did take care of this for you. I appreciate, thank you for filling out the form. Water line.
Looks like a double 20 amp or you don't know. We only have 100 amp.
So it's gonna be a one thing. I know. That might be your problem. So I've got the existing. Real one. Yeah, yeah.
You know, we're worried about like speed. Basically $500 a month and then.
That was Charlie Knight.
That was at the beginning, that was last.
Are we also? I was back.
But you don't count to saying you're not.
This church. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Are we allowed to?
The church.
That's great.
People get a band on this guy. They bought that.
Right there.
I don't know. Stuff.
Okay.
How we work like that, and what you guys. Because it will be in.
I thought so.
We're gonna find the. Sign it, cut it down. Is that how it works? So if you decide to do your.
She talked to you about this?
No, we had meetings on
Yeah.
Sunday.
Maybe a month, maybe 3 months.
Right. All right, sure, thank you.
Thank you.
That was
Very.
yeah. I could see some. That would be good.
Did I ever tell you, well, I think you need.
I have one expected system, man. This is where you can just use the text or an estimate. And then decide who you're gonna share it with. Yeah.
I don't see construction. Spring, I don't see ours.
That's did I hear today that all the easement needs to be signed or the grant will be funded? I think we're the start permit. Yeah, that's right. So one of my questions was that the answer that was
They said, get the easement deeds, we're gonna record them, that novel, we're gonna.
At least we got the right plan.
Yeah.
It looks like he split it or saved it.
I think that would make.
And he can tell you when that's, when they. Okay.
Okay. Right. All the, or they can even apply for the permits, all the easement. That's just the opposite.
We might need to get back.
It's usually before you record, it's different, get it. But for example, if you were gonna have a house, building a house, you have a permit before you build. You're gonna convert a property.
But the idea is really just to tap into that 3-inch line that's already there, to get rid of the tank and start it.
Exactly.
Fill it in.
Yeah, I would get it hopefully it's a 4-inch.
I'm not sure.
If it's 3, we might want to upgrade it. It's just read
Yeah.
or a little bigger and around. It's some properties.
Some folks are trying to take pressure on the.
Yeah, I really appreciate you being here.
Sure.
Some of them usually.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
They sent back and took care of it.
Yeah, I had one bounce, just one, and I got it, was actually today. That shows you how long the mail takes to bounce back. Well, it's not the
I think you probably have this way, heading up. You might get a lot of.
Oh, yeah.
So that, you'll be able to do that.
Yeah, so what I'm gonna do is, because we're the one that did come back, I'm gonna follow up, I'm gonna follow up with everybody anyway. Talk to. Right. Because for the grant to go through, you need 50%, you need all of them to some extent, right? And obviously, hopefully, so they will, I mean,
I'm not really worried about it.
opted in,
Yeah.
voluntarily.
We were worried about how this all was gonna lay out, if it was really.
Through on the actual easement.
Quite frankly,
I mean, I personally think I don't know too
well, we got 2 more times. Yeah, I was surprised too that it hasn't been more than that. So I think, like, I know MSI's got some, they have.
I mean, but I was 35,000 years ago, but
I see so many failed septic.
that's why I think this is possible.
Yeah, and over the
But I
years.
don't know, like, that was up to her, if we have, like, issue we have, like, insurance and things like that. If this being on the system is gonna affect them doing a buyout.
I
I know it's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah.
Depending on which side of the, I mean, they're not gonna.
Yeah, so why wouldn't you get a new one?
Especially if it's free.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, sure thing. That's why we're here for.
Right, so plan to be proactive. I'm gonna say,
These first ones.
And then, 2 7 there.
Those you guys are going to talk to general people.
These guys.
Oh, they moved Peter, and those 2 were just Peter, and then more other weight.
So, well, let me. We should go.
We took it down.
How are you?
Yeah, where you going with the?
And we have a garage over in
So expensive building.
Really ever want to check. So I don't think something. It's always knowing that, well, this year I was hoping twice when I rented it, like 4 times last year. I was not.
We will know better towards the end.
I do get into weights on there, they're pulling down and seeing on the system, is that gonna affect the operating that's
Probably.
Which.
and I was also gonna ask you if you're help me
Early next year.
red to the river.
That's there, right?
And because any possibility.
Still use them.
I hadn't thought about housing there.
And the 26th.
Yeah, it's just, so the reality is, yeah, so the reality is. At first I was like, oh, we did all yours. Probably, but it's not gonna. So the reality is, yes, we're gonna, in the short term, you're gonna have to forego.
Okay, but we got-
So what's your?
And when you get around to it, you check in, cause I think that's a good model. When you take that out, you put your box in.
Yeah.
And then we just tie into that after you guys get done, that short term, have that done, it'd be a town.
To be honest. Right, in some cases, I see.
Well, I mean, it's funny when you get the rain and then they.
Disconnect.
We've never like really rain like this.
Houses like all over, it's all over the place, one teacher. The technology. Because I do that already.
Have them do it. It was over here, 126 county.
Because it is, anything deal with that kind of stuff. But you know, anything that's open, they will expand it, the state will not.
And Chad, and he did that. Which you work fine. I understand what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And then so what will happen is we use that rail, you guys rail side, and you will, teachers break us down, and then in the rail, new system.
Exactly.
But you can get that before you do this.
Exactly.
Right.
It was that high.
I know the rail trail. buildings.
A lot of people that they don't use the public schools, there's like, you have kids.
That's.
You're gonna get me to.
I mean, just 2 bedrooms and that's what you need.
Then that's pretty straightforward. It's the same size.
Disagree.
I said we were only doing the rooms that are-
Basis reading, writing, science, math.
That's-
Focus on that stuff. Practical skills.
Okay.
No, we're gonna, yeah, we're gonna one way for the aspects of, I mean, they grow, but I mean, it's, yeah.
Let me just make sure. I take, you know, but the. Wanted to do it.
But it does really.
I mean, like, that's another thing he was said, which is try to make sure both sides are email.
Which.
Unfortunately,
Brian and
25 million years ago on finishing the rail.
Yeah.
And then it got flooded a couple times in 23, 24.
It comes back.
Do you know, because I'm getting told the box are gonna see what the other hours. We're still in 2023 and 2024.
What's the number of bedrooms?
Before,
Yeah, before.
But they, when they do
Projects.
we went in there and stripped, there's nothing in there. Get your money on it.
That's what I was wondering.
We even asked that question, we were told that.
Actually, let me get.
Well, I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah.
It's like that would be the way if you want to do a good power, if you want to do that, good baseline power. Focus
They
on
said we
that.
asked because we can
I
see.
thought it was a state law.
And now.
No, I know
They did this on the board.
One spot for that year. And then inside, we asked.
Oh, we even.
They might not.
I'll check in with Alex.
You don't keep track.
Some of the plugs.
It's easier. What's that?
As she'll say, this is what I want.
Stuff.
And then you gotta hope you get it right.
No, we're working.
It's like if your money on.
But it is, okay, well, I'll look at it with Alex, and if we have any questions, we can give you a call. And so have you actually seen
No.
from us?
You know, it's really good.
So we'll work on getting you like draft or the easement for you to look at.
We've been looking at the Johnson, where they get their measurement, what I gave
I believe it's on the side of the road and it crosses.
I don't know.
Yeah, so it goes past Flat Iron Road and then the new town forest. I just put it up.
You know, floods that was lying on there.
Yeah, I mean, because that's hard to like figure out in that house, but that house does seem like. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. Going through that town forest.
I can say. Discover.
And that was in the 20.
You have your burn.
Is it not?
I moved it out.
Now we're going to him next.
But you know, they told me it's like, yeah.
I gotta sign it.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's the thing.
Across the street.
Your house up there.
I'm not wanting to work here because we're hearing.
Maybe it's your house.
$500 per month for the system.
Maybe your house up there. I'm sorry.
I know it, what it is.
I said, you haven't got your house up yet.
Yeah, no, it's just.
Give me some advice. Give you some advice a lot, what to do in the first floor.
Pretty close.
I was thinking.
Near that side.
Or something, second floor is gonna be house. I think the church will turn you for. They're gonna sell the church. Huh? They're gonna resell it. We did the one town hall. What are you gonna do?
No,
No.
We're gonna put my son's gonna rent it, we're gonna do a garage underneath,
they're gonna make.
with a, one slab, 2 bedrooms.
Oh, yeah.
That's happening in April.
That's a.
I got the.
And this is from.
When he pulls it up.
You email me. Okay.
Building's coming down, we're stacked.
Yeah.
It's like, as a space in the area.
I had a soul.
So
You go to that way and that's what us, so you know, we're not doing.
Did you don't come to the.
No, I didn't bring it.
Things are expensive.
Okay. So we were concerned because we're hearing.
It's, depends how you order it.
So if there's a pump that needs to be.
Pay attention to your numbers.
I just wanted to know, like, no, like, if it needs to be repaired, okay. That's all gonna be taken care of.
Free for 37. Buy your stuff.
That's part of your.
Yeah, I didn't know how that worked.
That one.
Right.
Yeah, that's not what they say.
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to come here. Okay.
Are they a relative? Yeah. Did we ever meet? That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Well, feel free. Yeah, I know, we put in there.
So every.
Was it on this property or your other place? The work that I did. I can't remember. All right.
Under what I
Three.
you're on it, that's.
More than you did that.
Like, we're short of it right now.
Been running my so busy, yes, doing other stuff. In real estate. Got sideways at some point because they all did.
I got a phone for
Yeah, good. Despite the high cost of materials and everything.
Materials are, I believe.
Oh.
Shop.
I didn't know, right? Yeah.
250 square feet.
Pick the one that's gonna be.
That's probably a good question. We're just, yeah, I hear from the attorney. I'm wondering why it's an easement, not a right of way, where it would allow a couple of people to work on the system. It's same. It's pretty much same easement. Or it's like.
And build a house for you.
That's why lawyers right.
I'm doing my own.
I just didn't know.
But yes, it is only. Look at the, fees there. Once basically the sold when we sold the house. So that means we're signing over. If we give you a 10-foot swath out to the tank, say it's 50 feet, and there is 500 square feet of our.
Yes, we're gonna build shop or shop.
Yeah.
I think it's probably a better question for him. On, because Ninth School Street, where was the tank? Or does it have to be inspected? Have we been there?
Yeah.
You have, but I don't know exactly
You
what's
dug
been
up because of
done.
a historical. Yeah.
Over that
Oh,
way.
seriously, if you can do a cabinets and that stuff, and you're building yourself shop. Different Home Depot.
Ready to assemble?
Yeah, no.
Well, they're really good though.
That's
No, I'm sorry.
and labor. Versus just. Yep. I will not rebuild the cabinets, put them into my house, put them all together. That's time out of your pocket. You wanna go get them, put them in. It don't cost you any more money. If you go to Home Depot and you buy the same cabinets you find at the home center, you're gonna pay twice as much at home center.
Yeah.
And with the same cabinets already assembled, you're gonna bring them back and put them in. If you buy the cabinets online, you